welcome back to Fright Flicks. I am Nate.
And I'm Jamie.
And we are here for our weekly Till Death Do Us podcast review of the newest episode of The Walking Dead. It just went off the air a few minutes ago. This is a reaction review for Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 5, called Now.
And again, as I say every week, this is a true reaction. This is not a recap. There will be spoilers ahoy. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, please hit pause, go watch the episode, come back and listen to our reaction. So what'd you think of this week, babe?
Well, last week's episode, the Morgan episode, was a very character-building episode. It took us away from the very intense action that has been going on over this terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And this week, it's back to now. We're thrown right into the thick of it. But somehow, we're thrown back into the air quotes thick of it, end air quotes, but they managed to dissipate all the tension that had been built up. This was, I said as we were live tweeting this, I said, this has got to be the most chillax, laid-back zombie siege ever. Rick's return at the beginning, where he's running like Carl Lewis in front of a pack of walkers, heading for the front gate.
It was like a deranged Pied Piper.
It was awesome. It was intense. It was incredible. But then he gets in and shuts the gates, and Alexandria was like, okay, well, there are like a jillion zombies just pushing against the wall, but we're all cool. We're just going to go on about our business. And we're going to, like, kiss girls and just do, like, a bunch of silly melodrama. Now, I'm not saying it was a bad episode. I'm just, in the context of this season, they downshifted way too hard for me this episode.
See, and I felt like it was indicative of how little the Alexandrians have exposure and experience with walkers, and especially walkers of this magnitude, like just the sheer quantity. They're out of their element, dude. What else were they supposed to do? Of course they're going to go about their day. Now, that's not to say that there was without struggle internally, for example, at the line for the rations at the pantry, so to speak. You know, there was somewhat of a dispute there because, again, they're trying to really tighten up on their rations, and the Alexandrians, who thus far haven't really experienced any of that, they don't know what to do with that. They're pissed off. So there were little things like that. Enid's gone MIA. She's outside the walls.
You know what? I don't want to move on to Enid just yet, because the rationing scene, the Alexandrians, I get that, but this really stuck out to me in terms of a contrast within this very episode. And this is why I felt the episode was so off. We've got a scene where Jesse finds that zombie inside a house. That lady had cut her wrists or whatever.
Right.
And all these people, like, gather around in the street, and they're all, like, gawking and talking and whispering once. And it was exactly when Rick got in the fight with her husband.
Uh-huh.
A bunch of people gather around and stand and watch. So she kills the zombie, and everybody's standing around and watching. Meanwhile, we see Rick, and only Rick later on, standing watch over the huge crowd of walkers. There aren't guards. There aren't snipers. There's nobody watching the gate. There's just Rick. Nobody else is around. The rest of Alexandria is going. There should have been more tension. This is a huge horde at the walls, and although they didn't figure into the episode at all, why not in the background have a shot of Michonne or Carol?
Yeah.
Or Morgan? None of whom, Michonne appeared very briefly in this episode. They weren't, and then Daryl and Sasha and Abraham weren't in it. Eugene wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
And Carol was the most conspicuous in her absence. I mean, Morgan wasn't in it because all of last episode was all Morgan, so I guess he gets a break. He gets the week off, but Morgan and Carol are too prominent of figures to just, like, be absent for most of the episode. You know what I mean?
See, and I choose to believe whether I'll be proven right or wrong, this is where I stand right now. I choose to believe that they are otherwise engaged. They are wrapped up in doing something epic elsewhere.
I hope so.
I think that they're on some sort of wolf-stalking mission.
So, just sort of a general overall note, the episode felt kind of off to me. They wanted to have like a slower character building episode, which I get, and they also wanted to give some spotlight to some characters that had been neglected for a while, like Maggie, and they want to build up Aaron, and who's an interesting character.
I'm loving Aaron.
Yeah, me too. So they're giving some time to these side characters that haven't had any time. I get all that, but so much is happening between the wolves and the zombies at the door, and everybody seemed too chill. And I get your point about the Alexandrians. That's just their way. But there are enough smart people from the group there to, like... Rick would have said, all right, I'm organizing shifts. You don't have to want to do it, but we all have to take turns watching the wall.
Don't you remember toward the end of the episode, Spencer and Rosita have that moment together? And she even said, she's like, where's Carol? I thought that it was supposed to be her turn to stand watch. And he's like, oh, I switched with her.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like that did happen, but maybe off camera, and maybe not as soon as you were wanting it to happen.
You know what? It just wasn't to enough of a degree for what I considered the threat at the walls to be.
Okay.
This is a very big threat. This is a lot of zombies. This is the biggest herd that has ever come at Alexandria.
Sure.
And everybody seemed a little too lackadaisical about it for my taste.
Okay. All I have to say, though, is between Carol and Rosita, those are two bad bitches. I think I would be able to sleep tight.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
If they were watching My Town, I think I would be okay.
And maybe I'm just sipping on the haterade a little bit because we had a full hour in Alexandria and no Carol. Come on. You guys are being cruel. No Carol at all? I need some, you know?
But
She's such a bad bitch.
No, of course she is, and I love her. And Ninja Carol has killed it for me. 2 episodes ago, she killed it. However, I am choosing to believe that I have enough faith in my show to believe that they are holding her back for something fucking epic.
I hope so, because she had her epic episode this season, but I want more epicness from Carol.
I do too.
So,
I think it's coming.
Now,
mark my words.
Moving on to the next topic, which you brought up a little earlier about Enid, who is MIA, and her 2 little warring boyfriends.
This like Alexandria 90210 storyline, I get it. It's kind of irritating to me because Ron is the kid's name.
Ron and Carl.
I know, yeah. Well, I know Carl, obvi. But I'm saying Ron is a douche. He's getting on my nerves. He's Carl's complete, just the antithesis of everything that Carl is Ron. He's just this whiny little sniveling snot, and there's a lot of hate for him on Twitter. I was live tweeting the episode. If y'all follow me at Knifey Wifey, you'll be able to see my tweets from the episode. There's a lot of hate for him. I get it. He's annoying. He doesn't really serve a lot of purpose.
Yeah, but, I mean, I read some of those tweets too. If you're calling for a character to die because they're annoying, your priorities are a little bit off. This is the zombie apocalypse where, I was rooting for the priest to die for a while because his choices put people I cared about in danger.
Absolutely.
But now that he's sort of gotten his act together, I don't like the priest, but I'm not calling for his death. And Ron is irritating, but I mean, take it easy.
And
people.
like Ron's dad, Jesse's departed husband, he needed to die. I mean, he was a woman-beating piece of shit. Let's not beat around the bush here. And he was a direct threat to Rick. So of course Rick.
Let's not beat around the wife here.
Hi-yo!
Hey!
Domestic violence. But no, when people were calling on Twitter for Carl to kill him or Rick to push him off the wall, dude, slow your roll, guys. Like,
yeah, they need bodies in Alexandria.
Yeah, let's take it down a notch. He is still a teenager. Which one of us was not a douche as a teenager? I'm sure I was. I know you were.
So we've got. I'm still a douche.
Just glossing over that comment.
So we've got Enid who's gone, and the two boys are both worried about her, and they go to Rick about her, who's not as worried. But it's interesting that we've got all the wolves in the woods that are all savage, brutal killers. You've got an army of zombies surrounding Alexandria, and she just bounces. You know? Like, oh, I'm safer out there than... So, yes, I had mentioned this last episode, the episode before, that I think that either she was one of the wolves or is working with them still. Even though she doesn't have the W on her head, I'm thinking we may get a reveal where she has it somewhere on her body.
You think she's kind of a Trojan horse, maybe? They sent her in there on purpose? Because
yeah.
we did get a good fair bit of her backstory.
We did, and
there's no
and her backstory, although it didn't tie into the wolves, it was analogous to how they seem to live.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I could see her being part of that pack and infiltrating or whatever. Maybe not, but her reaction when the wolves attacked made me think this, and now the fact that she just jumped the wall and split leads me to believe that maybe she feels she doesn't have as much to be afraid of out there as she does in Alexandria, where she could be, I don't know, found out or something.
That's a sound theory.
All right, next topic. Maggie is preggers.
I request the highest of fives, given that I called that.
No, I've been touting that on social media for weeks now. In the first episode, Jamie called that Maggie was pregnant. And if you think that she has insider information, she's never read the comics. She, doesn't read spoiler pages. So that was just her gut instinct. Maggie was preggers. I instantly knew that she was probably right. And finally, 5 episodes in, they confirmed that Maggie is pregnant. Is this one more nail in Glenn's coffin?
No.
He's left a piece of himself behind. There's Glenn Jr.
I know. And I see from a hackneyed scriptwriter's perspective, I see that. But I just don't... And if they go that way, fine. If they don't, I'll be happier because I want Glenn alive. I don't think that this is the thing that's going to definitively mean that Glenn is dead. And we talked about this yesterday, I think. Glenn has survived so many near-death experiences that at this point, it almost seems like a cheat. And we don't want cheats from this show. We expect more from Walking Dead.
Yeah, definitely.
But...
and to be specific, my point was... It only feels like a cheat because of that shot of him looking down and seeing all of, air quotes, his guts, end air quotes, being pulled out. So they went out of their way to make it look like he was dead. He wasn't in a tight spot. He was getting ripped to pieces. So it's going to be trickery if they go back and say, oh, we were just funning with you.
No, like I said, immediately after that episode, and I was on social media, and I saw some fan theories stating that it was Nicholas that fell on top of him, and he was getting ripped to shreds. Again, I know that that's a thin argument. It's got a lot of holes in it.
You know what? It's not thin. It's very plausible that they would do that. My point is that they shot it to make us think he was dead, and that's a trick.
Sure.
And that's
we
weak
expect
sauce.
more from this show. So if he's dead, I'll be pissed off, and if he's alive, I'll probably be pissed off.
But back to Maggie. This was... If it was anybody's episode, it was probably Maggie's episode. She got a lot more screen time than she's had all season.
Yeah, just seeing her in the armory gearing up when Aaron comes to find her, I was like, that is the epitome of a ride or die right there. That's my girl. This is before the reveal that she was pregnant even, and you just know that she's gearing up. She's going out to find her husband. She's like, well, I gotta go at least find a sign. I gotta go do it. If that's not a ride or die, I don't know what is. Yeah. Loved her for that. Yeah. And then Aaron, he was... At first it sounded like he was trying to talk her out of it, and he's like, no, I'm saying I want to go with you. I want to help you. And I loved him for that. He's totally redeemed himself at first. And it's kind of fitting, though, that the first person he meets, was it Sasha and Maggie? they were out in the woods and he kind of stumbled upon them.
Yes.
And I said, "Who's this LL Bean catalog come to life? You look too clean and happy to live in a zombie apocalypse." And so I didn't like him. I was immediately distrustful of him. And now he's becoming one of my favorite Alexandrians. Go figure.
Yeah, his scene where he publicly confesses to inadvertently leading the wolves back to Alexandria.
So not his fault.
No, it totally wasn't his fault, but he felt it was, and he confessed it to everybody, which took balls.
I agree.
And not just that, it took strength of character. He's got a moral compass, and then this is part of the reason he wanted so badly to do something dangerous to help Maggie, was to earn his penance, which he doesn't really need to earn any penance in anybody else's eyes but his own.
No, but I respect that he thinks he needs to do it, and he's doing what a man should do in that situation.
This episode really raised Aaron's stock more than anybody else's. I think he's one of the, well, you know what? As I said on Twitter, he's the only person in Alexandria worth a damn. He really is.
Yeah. He's, like I said, he's definitely earned his place. He's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Alexandrian. He's the only one useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
He seems like he's smart. And I think that comes as well from him actually being in the position of where he went out and recruited and scouted. He was out in this world. He knew what was going on.
Sure.
What's the guy with the cool hair that we like and the glasses? Heath might be up there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heath and Aaron, everybody else can go suck an egg.
So that was another aspect of this episode, which was.
And he and Maggie got some good scenes together. Maggie,
they sure did.
Maggie's the character who she does have a very hard shell. She's a tough girl. She's Herschel Green's girl to the core, and the fact that she really sort of let her guard down around Aaron was really kind of touching and sad, and it just broke my heart, because then you remember that Maggie has lost her mother, her father, and her sister, all in these horrible, tragic ways since the dawn of the zombie apocalypse, and now she's potentially lost her husband.
Right.
And she's pregnant. Like, this poor woman.
But hey, I like the symmetry there, where a couple of seasons ago Glenn got himself a gay best friend.
In Tara.
And now, finally, Maggie has her own gay best friend.
Yeah, at one point in the episode, Nate looks at me and he's like, "Well, Tara's Glenn's road dog, and now Maggie's got one."
Yeah.
No, it was a funny little off moment. And I'm sorry, but can we nerd out for a hot second about how friggin' cool the zombie walkers were in the sewer?
Yeah,
holy cats.
The zombie of the week, those were awesome.
Oh man, when Maggie just reaches right through that guy. Oh, it was gross. It was so awesome.
Yeah, they were just falling apart at the seams. The effects were awesome, and they were different looking zombies than we'd seen before. So that was nice. I just
love the attention to detail that the zombies that have lived below ground, lived, quote unquote, have lived below ground, look so different than the ones that literally walk the earth.
Right, well, they've been soaking in sewage.
And it looks awesome.
It did look awesome.
I'm going to drink to them. Cheers me to... Okay, that was a real cheers. That was a practical effect.
Well, and then speaking of Tara, she
got some action.
She got some action, and I'll tell you that I didn't like it because it wasn't earned. Like, they spent a lot of really boring scenes. Like, for the first time this season, they spent a considerable amount of time in something that I was just not interesting. And this is Tara going to the fledgling doctor that doesn't want to be a doctor.
She's so annoying!
And giving her pep talks. And then she comes back again and gives her another pep talk. And then that's all it's been. Like, they're not doing anything interesting. And this new character, this doctor... Denise, like, she has yet to do anything interesting.
Denise bugs the shit out of me.
Right.
The zombie apocalypse is not the time to have a crisis of self. Like, nut up and do what you have to do, or don't do it. It's okay.
Right. In this world, you've got to earn your keep. And she's not earning her keep. And this whole little subplot just didn't do anything for me. And then, at the end, I was like, it was building towards a kiss, and because it's two women, it's supposed to be a big deal. I'm all for gay marriage and gay relationships or whatever, but at the same time, I don't consider them a big deal. So you had me invest a considerable amount of Walking Dead time in this little subplot just to build up to a kiss, which was supposed to be a big deal and it didn't work for me.
I feel like we live in a time that you call it post-racial. It's also, I feel like, post, sexual identity or gender identity. It's not that big of a deal to where it needs this big momentum and build up. We've known Tara was gay.
Right.
So BFD, man.
Yeah.
If by all means,
and I always assumed Denise was gay just because of her ponytail.
Stop it!
No, that particular, just the way she wears it, I don't know.
I'm wearing a ponytail.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like that. But, and this is great. It brings me full circle back to my original point, where there's the biggest horde of zombies ever clawing at the walls, and there's time to make out. Not just with these two, but also Rick and Jesse.
Which, okay, that's...
And they go make... So it's like, what better time than now to just, start making out? We don't have any... There's nothing to worry about. We didn't have the craziest day ever. There aren't wolf killers running around loose, and there's not 10 million zombies outside. Let's fool around a little bit.
Okay,
no bueno. Didn't work for me.
I get it. But I would almost argue that what better time is there to try and get your jollies than when you're facing death? Sorry. But, I would be having sex, all the time in the zombie apocalypse. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying, because when else, YOLO, whatever. When are you going to get to do it? And Rick and Jesse, that's adorable and everything, and I love that he likes to come in like Captain Save-A-Ho, and he really wants to be there for her and whatnot. However, I'm still holding out hope in my mind for Rick and Michonne. They are the power couple that we need.
I'm not...
They would rule the world, and you know it.
I'm not exactly... I don't remember the exact line that he said to Jesse before they started making out, but he opened his mouth, and in my head, what I heard was, "Come on, lady, I killed your husband. What else I gotta do? Give it up."
Oh, misogyny.
But finally that paid off.
Oh, misogyny abounds on this episode of Till Death Do Us podcast.
I don't even think that's misogynistic, really. Just the situation.
Really?
He had a crush on her.
Right.
He killed her husband, and then immediately went to her afterward and was like, "Hey, I still like you. Do you like me?" And she's like, "No, I gotta check the box for no, because it's too weird." And then 2 days later, she's like, nah, it's fine. Yeah, let's do it.
First of all, again, I feel like... Fuck, we gotta edit that part out. I totally lost my train of thought.
Okay,
sorry,
I can edit that out.
Okay, edit that, sorry. Yeah, again, I feel like Rick wanted to save her in more ways than one, which, okay, fine, whatever, adorable, sweet, bridge that gap, whatever. Again, I'm still holding out hope for Michonne. Jesse nutted up at a certain point in this episode, and that's fun. That's good.
She's coming along nicely as a character.
She's getting there.
Yeah.
She's like the least useless of the useless people.
Right.
So there's that.
And honestly, partially for that reason, that's why I don't want to see her get involved with Rick. It's only going to end horribly for her. Mm-hmm. She's better off not being with Rick.
I agree.
I love Rick Grimes is my favorite character, but I would never advise a woman to sign up to be his girlfriend. It's not going to be bueno.
No, he and Michonne, power couple.
Yeah,
I see it.
That could work.
Yes, it could, and I'm holding out hope. Like I said, this is a great diversion until he and Michonne can get together. One of my sweet Twitter followers said something that I would really like to quote. So are we just forgetting about Rick trapped in the RV? Did that just, disappear?
Yeah, they,
What happened to that?
They glossed over some stuff. Although, we could figure out what happened. He just jumped out and ran. And he ran all the way back, and he outran them. I would have liked to, that's going to take an extra minute to show us a hot montage.
That's all I want.
So, yeah, they skipped over some stuff that I really wanted to see so that they could have extra time to focus on shit that I didn't want to see. So, with that in mind, how would you rate this episode?
Oh, gosh. 6? Six.
I was going to give it a 6 out of 10 as well. What that means is 6 out of 10, it's better than, 5 out of 10 is average. This is a little better than average. So far this season for me, everything has been an 8, a 9, or a 10. It's been a hot season. And this lost the heat. It derailed some of the tension, perhaps on purpose.
I'm okay with that. I feel like, there's a philosophy, you stop to get a better start. Maybe that's what they were trying to do here. They were trying to kind of hit the reset button, stop to get a better start.
Yeah, I think they could have done it better, personally. Okay. But not bad, just not great. And
not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
I never like busting on the show, but I believe it's one of the best shows on television. Certainly one of my favorite shows on television. So I hold it to a higher standard than most shows. And
sure.
When it gives me an episode that's better than average, you know what? I expect more. We have to look forward to next week. Apparently, we will jump out onto the road at the head of the other part of the herd, which is being led by Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha. So we'll finally get some Daryl action for the first time in quite a while.
Oh, I can't wait to get some Daryl action.
Oh, shut up. You know just what to say to make me root for Daryl Dixon to die.
I do. I know how to push your buttons, baby.
Yeah, well, I wish bad things upon Jesse Pinkman because of your crush on him, and look how it turned out for Jesse. Not good.
Jesse got to ride off into the sunset.
After watching his girlfriend get murdered and then be a slave who lived in a pit and cooked meth for Aryans for a year, he suffered big time, and it was all because of you and your crush. So, based on this, the curse of Jamie's crush, Daryl better look out, because he may have something bad happen to him next week, and it's going to be all Jamie's fault.
All right, I gotta go find your Daryl Dixon voodoo doll.
So, come back, join us next week.
Till Death Do Us podcast.
Here,
or until I suffocate Nate in his sleep with a pillow.
Well,
talking shit about Daryl Dixon.
That is death. So, until she gets the nut up to actually suffocate me and cause death, we're going to continue podcasting. So, next Sunday night, come back here for our new review. In the meantime, leave us a comment here on this video. We'd love to chat with you, or find us on social media, Twitter or Facebook at FrightFlix, or on Twitter you can find Jamie at
Knifey Wifey, or Wifey Knifey, I don't remember which one is which.
It'll come up either way, and I'm at NateFlix, and until next week,